All right, YouTube, hello. Welcome back to the noisiest character that I've made this entire league. This is going to be a much quicker video. I'm just kind of going to go over some of the changes I've made to this character, some updates about him in total. But this is the BAMA Guardian that I created this league, which has by far been I think my strongest build probably ever that I've ever made. As you can see, I am level 98 now, Sweet Home Bama Kona. I have spent a little bit more time on this character. I've been off doing a bunch of other characters too, and then I just kind of come back to this guy whenever I needed to do a few things, or if I just felt like running around with him. So yeah, with that, this is the first character that I've made and at least consistently tried Ubers with. I don't know if other characters in the past, I probably could have killed Ubers in the past with some other characters. But this is the first character I actually like attempted and cleared Ubers. And it was just because the regular versions of all the bosses were dying instantly and were just so easy that I was like, you know what, I should try Ubers, and it's been a breeze with this character. So I'll kind of just talk about the Ubers that I have done, and potentially some of the other Ubers, and then yeah, some other updates with the character and some other changes or different ways that I think you can take this build, since having a bit more experience, level 98 now. So not too much. This is really just gonna be a very big kind of just like talking one. So one of the big talking video. So one of the big things that I changed though, and one of the first things I changed was actually my bow. So you can see here I have a synthesized bow now. For minions deal increased damage and 2% increased damage per frenzy charge. The minions do have frenzy charges. The blink arrow mirror arrows do have frenzy charges. So that's actually like, that's pretty good. But you can I think you can make this bow even better. I want to say I just spammed cold essence on this and then called it a day once it hit something decent. This is better than the bow that I originally had, which I think was just a shaper bow with some big added damage on it and like chance to gain a power charge or like double damage maybe. But this is better than that bow, and you could probably make this better by spamming Essence of Fear, which is the minion damage essence. Yeah, this one. You could spam some of this, just put minion damage on it. You'd want to still hit, like, another big added cold damage or added lightning damage on this. So yeah, that's probably what you'd want to do, is just spam this. I'm probably not going to. Maybe I will at some point, depending on how cheap essences are. We'll see. But otherwise, yeah, just spam that till it hits big added cold, and then some attack speed. Craft double damage on it, if anything. Maybe try to hit global crit multi. Whatever else, really. But yeah, that's really what happened as far as the bow goes. I think the quiver could probably still use to be better as well. This could probably just be a dual elemental damage to attacks quiver, so you could probably buy one that has like fractured added cold, and then just try to get some good life, some global crit multi, and like added cold damage, and I think you'd be good. And then craft the frenzy charge on crit, or do a veiled chaos orb. And just like lock previous lock summons, because whatever is good, and then hit it with a veiled chaos and try to get the frenzy charge on crit mod. That's up to you, but I think that this could be better. Amulet wise, this is I realistically, when I originally made this character, I thought that I thought the mirror arrow of prismatic was going to be doing way more than the bombarding clones. Turns out that's not the case. So this should realistically instead be a blink arrow, or whichever one you have set up as your bombarding should actually be the one that's getting the plus levels. The plus levels don't matter that much, but they are still a damage increase. So I'd say probably try to get one that has blink arrow or whatever. Again, whichever one is your bombarding. And so that would be swapped around. I just didn't want to do it at this point because the damage is still really high, and I just didn't want to put on the Death Attunement Anoint at this time. But otherwise, trying to think of what else I have going on that's different. I don't think there's too terribly much else. You can optionally, I did think about this too, you can optionally move your Animate Guardian and your Spectres into the 6 link, and then move your Prismatic clone into your helmet, and just do a 4 link and kind of just make the 4 link of clones, of Prismatic clones be more something that is just kind of more support oriented, which is actually kind of what I've done here. They still have a lot of their crit damage stuff here, but they also have Culling Strike, and I was thinking about just putting like Hypothermia or Bone Chill on here instead, and just turning this into a turning these guys into a 4 link. and then just kind of have more survivability on Guardian and Spectre. I think that's probably the better way to do it, honestly, because bombarding clones just deal so much damage as is, and you really just want your Spectres and Guardians to be living as much as possible. As you can see, actually, my Animate Guardian died. I had a very juiced up one. I had one that actually had all of the like end game stuff, you know, Kingmaker, all that kind of good stuff. Unfortunately, he died to Uber Maven. Just the way it goes. Rest in peace. And I've been too lazy to remake another one, and I haven't really needed it. Also, my haste cat Spectre also died. That was to is either the Feared or Uber Maven as well. I can't remember which. And I've replaced that with one that isn't fantastic, but it does what it needs to right now, which is the Perfect Spirit of Fortune. I'm trying to see if we have another one. We do not. Okay. But the Perfect Spirit of Fortune just casts Wrath, which isn't a big deal because Guardians get Wrath from their little spirit guys on their tree. But the other thing is that it makes your lightning damage that you deal lucky. And also, Hulking Miscreation gives you Fizz as extra lightning damage, so it's still at least decent. It at least just makes the lightning damage that it is rolling a lot higher, and just lucky. So just generically, kind of more damage there. Not a big deal. You'd again want this to be like the Haste Cat or something. If you really wanted to, if you wanted more survivability, you could probably do like the Thunderbird here, maybe the Guardian Turtle. The Guardian Turtle's really slow though. But that's just kind of up to you. I think if you do that, though, that's like too many defensives, and you probably just want to get rid of the Perfect Meat Sack at that point, because Perfect Meat Sack has so much life, and right now I'm basically using two tanky Spectres and two kind of damage dealer Spectres, or like two buff Spectres, but you could easily adjust the Spectres around. Oh, and the last thing that I changed was the tree. I'm still running two cluster jewels. I think that's kind of just a better way to do it. I've seen a lot of people that were doing this. We're just running one. Personally, I like running two. If you run one, you'd want to do one of the really big 12 passive item level 84, 35% increased effect, plus 35% increased effect, and like minion attack cast speed. And you could get one of those, but I personally just feel like this is just a cheaper option, still better to go. I haven't rerolled these at all, but they're still solid. What I did do, though, is I realized I didn't need as much mana reservation efficiency as I originally thought, because I just don't have the sockets for it. That, or if I wanted to, I would swap something out for... I'd try to swap something, maybe Defiance Banner for, like, Haste or something. But I decided, ultimately, nah, it's not really worth it. I don't really care. So I dropped Cruel Preparation and Mystic Bulwark along with the mana reservation efficiency node here. I took all that, moved it instead down to here. Also, I got rid of Potency of Will, got rid of this wheel, and went all the way back up just to the gem socket here, and then took Constitution, moved it over towards Sentinel, and then took Exceptional Performance along with Duration Mastery. A lot of people I was seeing as well also took Mage Bane and Reflexes. Maybe if you're running full evasion and you have a way to get yourself to 100% spell suppress, maybe through some of the jewels in here, so through some of the charms in here. If you have a way to get 100% spell suppress, sure, go for it. I do not, and I personally am just kind of like about that whole thing, so I just sort of decided to not go that route. But I did like getting the extra jewel here, so I have another jewel, and the dexterity is nice just to kind of help ease with some of the requirements of using the bow. So yeah, that's basically all that I did with the tree. Oh, and I also just moved down and took the crit multi-nodes here. If I were to take this character to level 100, ooh, I don't even know where I'd put the 2 points. Maybe just here into the life and energy shield. Just get some more life out of the build in general. Maybe take Mage Bane and try to get into spell suppression. Yeah, there's a few different routes that you could go here. But yeah, that's essentially what I've changed with this character. Unfortunately, I also still am using a mana flask. I just, like, you still have to cast so often, and it costs enough mana that that I needed the mana flask at the end of the day. Again, if you moved Mirror Arrow or whatever arrow you have of Prismatic into a 4-link, it probably doesn't cost as much, and you could probably drop the Mana Flask, and I think that'd be okay. But I still needed it, and at the end of the day, I feel like it wasn't that big of a deal that I'm still using it anyway for this build. But yeah, with that, let's roll into the Uber. So, as of right now, I've killed 3 Ubers, and I've given an attempt to Uber Elder. So right now I've killed Maven, Cortex, and Uber Shaper. Something that I realized, well, not even realized, remembered, unfortunately, is that if Maven has witnessed both Shaper and Elder individually, she can still witness Uber Elder, and I forgot about that. And so when I went and attempted Uber Elder, Maven was there, and I almost had it, but I'm not very well versed in that fight, as is in general. And then Maven was just there to throw things off, so I was still really close, but I ultimately ended up wiping to that encounter completely because Maven likes to make things difficult. So I need to, that'll probably be what the 4th one is for this build. So, just as a quick heads up as well, I believe that for your Animate Guardian, I believe that the degen beams that Maven hits players with, like they give you can't regen your life, you can't life regen, nothing like that if you get hit by them. I believe that does apply to Animate Guardian, because I'm pretty sure that's what killed him, is getting hit by the beam and then he couldn't regen, and then he just died to something else. So I'm pretty sure that's what killed my Animate Guardian. I would probably recommend, if you have a very expensive one, to just unsocket the Animate Guardian until you're done with the fight, because you really don't need him. I'd just probably recommend unsocketing him. If you have just a cheap one, then who cares? You can keep him on. That's whatever. But if you have a more expensive Animate Guardian, then that is quite a bummer when you just watch a bunch of Divines melt away on him from Maven. So that was a bit unfortunate. But Maven overall, very easy with this build, not a problem whatsoever. Melted her very well. I would do some kind of a showcase, but I have literally nothing ready, and I am low on maps, so I'm still I'm regathering all the pieces to try again. Then with Cortex is also super easy. It just kind of depends on what map mods you get. I've ran them a few times with this build at this point, and I think I've just got lucky with the map mods. But realistically, damage-wise with this character, you don't care if they have any elemental resists. Any additional elemental resists mean nothing to this character. You melt through their life, you do really high damage, so Cortex was super easy. You just have to be careful getting up to the boss battle in there. But once you've made your way over to the boss, it's a cakewalk from there. I had no problems with this character whatsoever. And Uber Shaper, not a big deal. The only thing is visual clarity, obviously. So when he's doing ultimate chaos and you have to dodge out of the way of his balls, you can't... I couldn't always see, and I ended up dying a few times to just not being able to see because the minions hug pretty close to you, or at least the hulking miscreation especially. But they'll kind of hug a little bit close to you, and you have the blink arrows going off, and just it's raining arrows, and you just can't see. Or at least I couldn't see very well, and then I just wound up dying. But overall, pretty clean overall. Damage-wise was super good. And yeah, as long as you're decent and you feel comfortable with Shaper, it's not bad. And like I said, Uber Elder is very, very doable with this character. I just got wiped to Maven, unfortunately. But it's extremely doable with this character. There really wasn't anything that bad. You just have to watch out for ultimate chaos. Watch out that you're not that if Shaper targets one of your minions, that you're not getting slammed by Shaper. Just little things like that, you know. Just watch out, keep an eye on the boss. But overall, that's completely doable. As for the other Ubers that I'm probably not going to attempt and probably won't be here, or that I have attempted. Cirrus I actually haven't tried just because I know that he's kind of miserable, and I'm worried about that the degens that he puts down will kill the minions. But I might test him out anyway. Maybe once I've killed Uber Elder, I'll test out Cirrus. I'm not sure if he'll kill minions. He might kill minions very well, because he just has degens literally everywhere, and is kind of an obnoxious fight. So he might be doable, but again, I don't know how well if he kills your minions. Searing Exarch, I did attempt, and I think with this character, it is maybe doable, but it's extremely difficult. And the reason why is because during his meteor phase, his ball phase, your minions, especially hulking miscreation, likes to hug very, very close to you, and your minions will cause the balls to pop. And if they're close to you like that, then they'll just pop on you and basically just completely destroy you. So that happened to me, I think, twice, where the hulking miscreation and my other specters just popped a ball directly on top of me, and that killed me. And you don't really have like a lot of body blocking capabilities with, you know, blink arrow and mirror arrow. So it's pretty difficult. Also, I can't remember incineration. I can't remember one of his abilities, whichever one that like tracks you, and he fires a bunch of like fireballs at you from up above, and he like moves with you. That one is very difficult to dodge because he moves faster and he fires additional projectiles. So I was able to like dodge a little bit, but then I would just get hit by one or two and then just be stuck in stun lock and would die. So Searing Exarch, potentially doable, maybe if you're good at movement with blink arrow and kind of like are really paying attention to that and really can move around. He might be doable with Uber, because the minions weren't even close to dying, so I wasn't worried about minions at all. It was strictly just the boss himself would kill me. But yeah, outside of Searing Exarch, Eater of Worlds, from what I hear, Eater of Worlds is brutal towards minions and will kill them, like, very easily, which doesn't surprise me. He hits extremely hard, he shocks extremely hard. It would not surprise me at all if he kills minions, so I probably won't be attempting him, also because I just don't feel like farming Eater of Worlds again. I'm just over it. But yeah, other than that, everything else is completely doable. This character is, like I said, very, very strong, very good, very fun. And yeah, that's really all I had with this guy. I did quickly want to go over a potential different way to build this character, which I might do in the future. So this is a different character I have, and I've just kind of thrown gear at him. But this is a different way to potentially build this character. And he's not very well set up, so don't worry about what I have in here, because he's not very well set up. But another potential way that I was thinking about making this character is instead of focusing pure elemental damage and doing Guardian, is instead to be Juggernaut, to be a little bit tankier. So this is a Juggernaut character. And instead using Voltaxic Rift, because Voltaxic Rift adds a lot of lightning damage, and you can stack a lot of lightning damage onto your minions, and then it will convert everything to chaos damage, and then your minions will also be will also convert everything to chaos damage, all lightning damage to chaos damage, and then will shock enemies really hard, and will hit everything really hard with Voltaxic Rift. And you can do a poison version of BAMA. Let me also say that. You can also do poison Juggernaut, also very good. But I wanted to try with Voltaxic Rift. So this is something I'm potentially going to try in the future. The chess piece isn't even anything. I don't even have I don't even have this made correctly. The chess piece isn't anything special. The chess piece will just be an armor chess piece, probably a hunter base that has the you can apply an additional curse is really all that I would be concerned about using, and then just cast have Despair set up, and probably Assassin's Mark still. Assassin's Mark for crit, and then also using Triad Grips and just set everything to blue, because then that just changes all of your minion damage to lightning damage. So then your blink or your mirror arrows, whatever you have set up that is doing the bombarding, will then also be doing large amounts of lightning damage. So I might level with this character a little bit more and do a little bit more testing, but ultimately I might just try this in a future league. We'll see. But then also using Devouring Diadem instead, and using Haste on this version. What else? Oh, also using an Elegant Hubris to take Supreme Ostentation, so that we don't have to worry about attribute requirements, because attribute requirements for bows are really, really high, especially if you're like a Juggernaut or a Guardian. It's a lot higher to use that kind of stuff. But otherwise, the tree, fairly standard. 12 passive minion cluster over there. That's empty. Like I said, this character doesn't have a whole lot to him right now. He's just... I wanted to test this. So yeah, that's the ultimate thing. Unstoppable, Unflinching, Unbreakable, and Untiring would be the way that we're going with... oh, also, I just realized I didn't have those put in. Nice. And yeah. That's basically this character. I will say... I've seen both on the Guardian version and other versions where people are actually going down to Avatar of the Hunt, so you just go down further, take Avatar of the Hunt, and take the Bow Mastery for Blink and Mirror Arrow, have 100% increased cooldown recovery rate. I'm a little on the fence about doing that. I think that's kind of an each to their own kind of deal, but I feel like you can slide in way more damage and you can actually get cooldown recovery rate from charms even, especially in Affliction League. You can get cooldown recovery from charms, and you can get it on your boots with the cooldown recovery rate of travel skills. I really don't feel like that's necessary, especially with how long Blink Arrow of Bombarding and the Prismatic clones last. But if you're using regular Mirror Arrow, like this guy, I'm using regular Mirror Arrow just to see how it feels. Then I can understand it a bit more, because the base duration of regular is only 3 seconds, whereas the base duration of Blink is 20 seconds. But realistically, you cycle fast enough as is to where the increased cooldown recovery rate doesn't matter that much. You cycle already quick enough to where you can basically have permanent uptime on fresh meat. So I don't really see this as being entirely necessary, but each their own. If you feel like using it, then by all means, go ahead and use it. It's just more of a comfort thing, I feel like, for people. Also, if you went the Elegant Hubris with Caspiro and took the Supreme Ostentation route, look for things that give you like Superiority or Slumlord. Slumlord, very good. Minions deal increased damage. Superiority, increased non-curse auras, effective non-curse auras from your skills. Right as Lars, that doesn't matter. And yeah, I feel like that's kind of it as far as I wanted to showcase with BAMA. This is something, again, that I might try in a later league. Not really sure. I'll figure it out whether I'm going to do it on this character or do some more. Like I said, my 2 Spectres here. This is literally just a perfect meat sack and a Forest Warrior just to give me and my minions onslaught while I test. But either way, hope you enjoy. Hope you liked the BAMA Guardian. I personally had a ton of fun with that character, and I'm looking forward to trying him out again in the future, most likely. But yeah, otherwise I'll probably wrap up this season. I actually thought I was going to finish at 38, but it's looking entirely doable to hit 40. But yeah, as per usual, if you have any questions, let me know. I'll answer whatever I can, hopefully. And yeah, regardless, hope you have a great rest of your day. I hope you've been enjoying Affliction League. It's been such a good league. This has literally been, it's been 2 back-to-back bangers of a league out of Path of Exile. And I'm excited to see what comes next and for the end of the league. For now, though, YouTube, take care. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye now.